amazing year it has been. And we're going to talk about that in terms of where we are with Feed the Planet, what we've done. We're going to get into that. But just looking forward to 2023, we have some amazing webinar speakers lined up already. You don't want to miss January. Just keep watching your emails, because we're going to have a very special guest, somebody who is an absolute worldwide respected expert in the world of seafood. And he's going to talk a lot about seafood and specifically about aquaculture. So stay tuned on that, because I frankly can't wait to hear what he has to say, because it's going to be extremely educational. And then we're going to jump into some other stuff in February, March. But anyways, be ready for that. There's going to be lots of great stuff. So today we sort of thought that wouldn't it be neat to round out the year and bring the one and only, the world famous Ragnar.
Thank you, Chris.
On just to sort of talk about, a lot has happened with Feed the Planet over the years. But before we get into that, so who is this Ragnar guy? And Ragnar, I have your sort of bio-ish open on my other screen here. So he is currently managing director of World Association of Chef Societies, and has been doing that since 2009. That's crazy. That seems like yesterday. All right. But he's done a lot of other stuff in his career, and I'm going to ask him to sort of talk a little more about this. But he was founder and CEO of a thing called Passion Food, which is food and wine photography, publishing, and communication, doing a lot in the world of champagne, which was exceptional, and with Michelin-starred chefs. He was a marketing manager. He was a restaurant manager in Norway, among other things. His education, master diploma of the Institut des Hautes Études du Goût. He has an MBA, a bachelor in entrepreneurship, hotel management. You've done everything. He speaks 100 different languages. And my favorite part about this whole thing is, aside from being Icelandic and French nationalities, is it says driver's license. Yes, good. Okay, so for everybody, if Ragnar's ever wanting to drive anywhere, I can tell you he has.
I'm your man.
He has a driver's license. I love it. Anyways, so Ragnar, seriously, a huge welcome. Ragnar and I have been working together for a long time on Feed the Planet, so it really is, having you on is like having a good friend, quite frankly. So maybe it's a little silly for those who are watching. But anyways, Ragnar, welcome. And I just want to begin, because we all hear from you, see your emails, et cetera, et cetera. But just tell me a little bit about, I guess if you could just expound a little bit on your background, just for those who maybe don't know you, as well as some of us do. So talk a little bit about what brought you to World Chefs.
Hey, thank you, Chris, and thank you for that introduction, I think. And I want to say hello to everyone. Wonderful to see you. And yeah, right, Chris. No, it's really simple. I started very early in hospitality, and so I did my basic hospitality training. That old style catering school where we learned everything, and I went from there to more to front office and sommelier, and always following my passion, which is this industry, hospitality industry. Such an amazing people you meet in this industry, and it's sort of I never got tired of it, and I wanted still to grow and pursue my career, and this is where passion food comes into play. I wanted to still have a role in industry, but with from a lot of different angles and perspective. I've done everything from bartending in nightclubs and cocktailing and sommelier and royal banqueting and what have you. And so it was a continuous learning that brought into places by chance. And it was an encounter with then President Gisle Gudmundsson, a countryman of mine, who made the bold decision that Worldchefs should have its office and staff. And so I became the first employee of Worldchefs, and really, when I didn't know wax at the time, or Worldchefs now at so much, but really when I started to get into it, meeting the people, all the passion behind it, really I really dived into it, and I really felt, and I said that to people, that I've been training for this role all my life. Is really what I felt, and that is what it meant to me, and how fortunate I am to be able to take up this role and grow it with all the team now, with Lynn here and all the team at the office, growing this. Actually, what I feel I'm doing, what I feel we are doing together as a team, and with you as well, all the committee members, the board members, president, is we're enabling our chefs around the world really to act for good, whether it's through education or sustainability or social or humanitarian, or just bringing young people and train and educate young people into our industry. We are in the fortunate position to be able to enable the rest of the guys to do that.
Power of the white jacket.
Power of the white jacket.
So let me ask. So let me ask you. A lot of the other guests that I've had on here, I like to ask sort of that question about their personal sustainability journey, like what brought them to the point where they are today. And I guess I would ask you the same. Where does your passion for sustainability come from, and why do you think? And we'll get into the whole history thing in a minute, but why do you think it's so essential that we as world chefs sort of have this platform of sustainability?
No, it's and so it really we started because we're talking about decades of sustainability, and when we started back in 2012, it was something that was talked about, and I would say myself included, was maybe not taking it extremely seriously, but it was a vision at the time that maybe we should be bringing this attention to the issues of sustainability because of our planet. Then we were saying, well, if we don't change, we're gonna be in that problem and this problem, and it was all these preaching of fair, you could say. Mm-hmm. and so we thought, well, hey, Worldchefs should be a part of this discussion, and it wasn't taken that seriously at the time. I think something snapped, something went wrong in the planet, and now we're in the panic seat now, I guess, in the sense that we need to do something and fast. And I think we all had gone through this learning curve,
I think that's a really good way to sort of look at this, because and I appreciate you saying that, because I think for all of us, we've all gone through that learning curve, and especially those of us of a certain age. I mean, younger folks have grown up with sustainability. We didn't, and for us it was really truly a learning curve of going from the world's fine and will always be fine to, wait a minute, people are kind of suggesting that maybe we're not so fine, to, like you said, we're kind of in the panic seat now. Like, okay, we really need to get thinking about where are we going to go with this? And I think that for me personally, the fact that Worldchefs has stepped in and said, no, we're going to make this an important part of what we do is exemplary. I really do. And I think history will look back on this and say, you know what, that was the right decision for that time. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So Ragnar, let's jump back into the history of Feed the Planet. We talk about 2012, and maybe if you can just sort of give us a little sense for where it started, how it started, and kind of a little bit of how we got to today.
Yeah, no, that's Chris. It's back to 2012, a decade of growth. At the time, there was when we start talking about sustainability, we had policymakers and presidents of states talking about sustainability, but we realized it had mostly to do with food. A lot of the issue, the problems are around food, and so at the time, with Gisser Gudmundsson at the time, well, we thought, well, Worldchefs should be a part of the discussion. Chefs should be a part of the solution. Chefs should be the change agents, and we wanted to present that to our members. But for us to be able to have a message, we first needed to teach ourselves, teach our members, teach ourselves to understand the issues of what is we are facing with. And so in 2012, we made a bold declaration that was signed at the Congress in Daejeon, together with the mayor of Daejeon, who was close to UN Secretary at the time, who gave us a special message at the Congress to urge chefs to act and to be the change agent. And there were about 1,000 chefs that signed this declaration that is still hanging up in our office today. That world chefs, that chefs all around the world, they should use the power of the white jacket to make a positive change in the world. That's how it started. An idea, no better than any other politician came up with it, an idea. But we had another thinking behind it. We need to act. And that wasn't so easy. And it was a long way to get started. Where do we start? How do we get from words to concrete actions? I mean, God knows the issues are there. You talk about, at the time, food waste to a chef. And what a food waste to a chef at the time was, no, we don't waste food in our kitchen. So you had to make a whole complete change of mentality. That that we understand, yes, there is an issue, and there was a lot of good people that had to that came to the table. We're working with some really great people and companies like Rick Moonin at the time, who was with us, ensuring that we were asking the right questions, and well, we thought, like, first thing we need to do is educate ourselves. I think that's when you came in, Chris, sustainability education. And that wasn't an easy task at all. It was a couple of years in, like, where do we start? Where do we even start that thing? And sometimes we're like, when we were getting overboard, we had to really break it all down and say, like, no, we need to have it like something that people can understand, and it has to be light and easy. And where do we find that balance? And so that's really where it started. Chefs educating other chefs, but we had to educate ourselves first. But back to you, Chris. How did you? This is what you came in. Now we're 2015. That's 3 years later. That's 3 years later.
I maybe even before that. I don't exactly. It was actually Leipzig, Germany, at that meeting.
Germany, yeah.
That's where I came in. But I think this is, and we're going to talk in a little bit about sort of where we are today, because it started with this idea, and I think, Ragnar, to your point, when we first started, it was, when you talked about sustainability, it wasn't universally understood or appreciated. And I think that the fact that World Chefs already in 2012, that's a decade ago, actually said we're going to sort of commit to this, that was visionary, absolutely visionary. And if I think about, and I'm going to ask you about a couple of your maybe memories along the way, but if I think about sustainability in World Chefs, one of my sort of pivotal memories is what happened in Stavanger when Julian Cribb came on stage. Julian Cribb, a very famous author from Australia, who wrote some transformational books on sustainability, extremely well researched, and one of them called "The Coming Famine" is legendary. But anyways, when he was on stage, I'll never forget, he challenged us. He challenged us chefs. He said, you have to take the reins of responsibility and make this world a better world. And that was, for me, I think, the moment that things really started to move. But Ragnar, I'd like to ask you, because we've had a lot of different things that we've done, but are there any memories that just sort of stick out, stories that stick out in your head of the last decade and what Feed the Planet has done?
No, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, Chris, that so many people have stepped up, and there's been a discussion of, if I started naming some, I have to name them all. And of course, like the first one to ask would be Electrolux and Electrolux Professional, Electrolux Food Foundation, Custom Culinary, with Nestle Professional, with all the people you mentioned there as well, that have been there. City and Guilds have been there with us. Johnson and Wales, the Culinary Institute of America. So many people have come to the table and discussion, and for memories, I think coming together when we came together for our first meeting, and it was in Stockholm, and you were there, and we had all like started the training of this, and it was actually getting that first team together, starting with almost an empty paper, which we had to sort of start putting our dreams on and then setting KPIs to those and action plans. But those first meetings were actually some of the sweetest memories, huh? And it's of course very personal memories. It's with us, with you, with the Electrolux team, now with Cosimo here, and Ingrid, Malin, all that people coming together where we really sort of could dream together. And I think that's such a good memory today, because when I see what we have achieved since then, I think even going back after those meetings, that first meeting, was like yeah, if we get half of that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I share your memories of that, because we get together once or so a year somewhere in the world to really map out what we're doing, and we take this extremely seriously. Just for everybody listening, that we actually make very concrete KPIs, and we really hold ourselves to it and really act on it, very much like a business plan would be. And yes, in those first meetings that we had, it was a little bit dreamy, like maybe. And we're going to talk in a minute. I'm going to ask you, Ragnar, about where we are today, because those dreams were far surpassed, and now we've raised the bar for ourselves. But and it's not just ourselves. I mean, it's for everybody who's listening and every member of Worldchefs. But I do want to call out, and Ragnar, you sort of alluded to it. We have partners. We have partners in this Feed the Planet world. The Electrolux folks, the Food Foundation over there, Isaac International, Custom Culinary. These are partners that without them, this never could have been achieved. And I mean, we can do so much as chefs, and we have a lot of power of that white jacket. But I will say, just to call out to these other organizations, that it is those people in those organizations that worked truly, I mean, hand in hand with us, and continue to do so today. And without them and their different skill sets, none of this would be possible. So I just want to call that out. But Ragnar, so we've talked about 2012. You talked about some memories of getting together. We talked about Stavanger. We talked about getting together in Stockholm and dreaming and bringing these diverse skill sets of people together. So where are we today? Give me a little update, annual report. How's that?
A little update, and I think maybe just to go through what I mentioned earlier. Where do we start? We started with sustainability education, and maybe give an update of all the programs that we put in place then. Because yes, sustainable education was teach ourselves, teach the chefs, which was the first step. Then be a positive impact to others. We have been working on food heroes, to talk to children, also through different activities, going into primary schools, talking to children of more sustainable, more healthy, nutritious, finish your meal, all sort of campaigns that we are trying to be a positive impact to others. Also to society. How can we also improve societies through our program that we named Like a Chef, which basically is education for employment. What we see in our industry is there is both a huge need for skilled workforce. People are not entering into the industry as much as we would like, as much as needed, because it's a very high growing industry. At the same time, we see around the world high levels of poverty, people that have the capabilities, maybe have the passion to work in our industry, but do not have the means to enter, do not have the educational access to education or to mentorship that allows them to enter into our industry. So we created Like a Chef. Those are, I think, some of the key projects, key programs that we've been working on. And where are we today? It's just amazing. I think with all our messaging, all that we've been doing, we've reached almost now 1 million people through our social media campaigns, etc. Concrete terms, what have we achieved on sustainability education? Sustainability education is now taught in numerous schools around the world in 5 languages. There are hundreds of trainers out there, and we are graduating. Well, soon we'll be graduating 10,000th student. in this program, and we have ambition for a lot more, because the thing is, it's a train the trainer type of program. We want people to train others, and then they train others, and so we want a snowball effect. On the Food Heroes, amazing partnership with ISEC student organization. The Food Hero Challenge has reached almost 100,000 kids around the world. And so many professionals, chefs have been active in 50, 60 countries, been active to promote, to talk about healthy, nutritious food to the next generation, which is so important to us. Like a Chef, which is Like a Chef, the education for employment, which is it's not an easy project. It's a very ambitious project, and the result have been far beyond what we expected. We are now working in 7 training locations, and we have a template ready to open more, so people can help us open other training locations, because we have the training program. You worked on the training program, Chris, and so we have a training program in place where we can take people that are in poverty, in any distress, refugees, immigrants, asylum seekers. How can we integrate them into society using our profession as the vehicle? We have these centers in 7 locations today. 1,000 people have been graduated. That means thousands of people, we change their lives, we touch their hearts. And so that means something. And again, we've set a sort of, with all that I've said now, it's almost just like the tip of the iceberg. It's actually, we set the base, because when we created those programs, and you would know best of all, is that we want them to be replicable and impactful. So impact and repeat and duplicate. And so now, I think from now on, decade later, I think we are ready to really grow this exponentially.
I love it. Every time I hear these numbers, I just can't help but smile, because, again, thinking back to where this started, thinking back to the vision in 2012, we never could have imagined the success. We never could have imagined that we could have touched 100,000 students, or that we could have graduated now 10,000 people with our sustainability curriculum. And that is on, it's digitized now. So, yep. And we have all these train the trainers around the world. And by the way, we're going to talk to one in just a minute, but this is exciting. Now, I mean, really exciting. This is a great way to finish the year. But Ragnar, I'm going to come back to you at the very end and just ask for your sort of look into the future. But before that, I have some questions that I'm seeing in the Q&A here. So, and maybe I can even answer some of these. But will we be hearing from Feed the Planet in 2023 about various transformative food systems like vertical farming, cultured meats, aquaculture? Yes. All right.
No taboo. No taboo. Everything is on the table. We are not here to do any like dogmatic evangelism. We're here to talk about issues, raise issues. So, isn't it, yep. Chris?
It is all about education and empowerment. That's our motto. But aquaculture is going to be in January, and cultured meats, I'm actually working on that right now. That's a growing thing that sounds so strange, but at the same time, huge progress on that. So, Mark, we're gonna get to that. Then the next question is also from Mark, but Feed the Planet program, Like a Chef, is a great program. Can you share the program's vision for the future? How can more companies in the hospitality, culinary, and food service world help grow this program? Ragnar, do you want to jump on that, or I can also address that? But
yeah, what is so great about the partnership we have, Chris, is that with Electrolux Food Foundation are extremely selfless people, and it's always been a very open, dynamic partnership. I mean, they invest a lot of resources in this partnership. I'm not talking money. I'm talking about all the people within the organization, the time, the efforts, the passion they put into this. And it's always been about how can we bring other partners in work together to make more impact. It's always been about how more impact, not about me. It's about you, and others. So definitely, as a long answer to your question, there, it's yes, it's really, we have these templates, we have this partnership open for if companies, other institutions, food service companies want to get involved. We have some tools that we can put out there, and together we can actually multiply the impact.
Yes, and I'll also just add to that that, you know, with all of these programs that we've talked about, you know, the sustainability education. We've talked about how people can get involved as a trainer. We've talked about, which we're going to talk to Stephen in just a second on, and we've talked about, you know, the Like a Chef, and we've talked about food heroes. But you know, when it comes to something like, you know, the Like a Chef program, that's really a big commitment. I mean, this is you know, a couple months of, you know, or at least 6 weeks, 7 weeks of education that's provided. It is an amazing program, and we're going to actually talk next year about with the person who's currently sort of heading up this part of the of Feed the Planet, and hear some stories, because the stories are just are heartwarming. And this is the really neat thing, is that every one of you that's listening and every member of World Chefs can be involved, and I think also can be very proud of what our organization has done. We are not an organization that just sits around. I mean, we are challenging ourselves and you to get involved and do more. So I do want to ask Stephen Bolton, who's on right now and joining us from Indonesia, so you are I'm looking at your head of international research and lecturer at Otimo Master Gourmet Academy in Indonesia. And so you are one of the trainers, certified trainers out there who is teaching the sustainability curriculum. And I know you just wanted to jump in and sort of make a comment here this morning. So I guess morning, day, whatever it is, evening, your time. So please go ahead, welcome.
Okay, hi everyone. First, I apologize. I have a very unstable connection because I'm currently in Bali, not in my office as normal. So I just wanted to make a comment. What Otimo are doing to put sustainability actually through all the organization in Otimo. So in January, actually, we will actually be teaching all the staff, which includes all the lecturers, which are the chef lecturers, and also the theoretical lectures we have. So basically, as we go through the next semester, they can actually bring sustainability into the kitchens and also into the classrooms as well. I think it's really a great program. And I think depending where you are, you will find the students have an interest maybe in agriculture. And then what we've actually found is that they're really interested in first the water, then the energy, and then the nutrition, because they're actually going to be chefs. So they really focus on, once they've got the produce, what can they do with that? And how do they make healthy food as much as they can? And then they concentrate on the menus to bring in plant-based food. So I think from myself and Julia, who is also a trainer, this is what we found when we recently completed sustainability in Otimo. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, for taking the time to join us. And it's great to see you, by the way. You know, this is, I think, a great example of how, you know, someone can take these resources. Everything is free, by the way. You know, take the resources and employ it and grow it, because we have a big audacious goal to have 100,000 people trained in sustainability education by 2030. 100,000 people. That's 90,000 more to go. And we only get to 90,000 if more of us get involved and jump in. And like Stephen, like, you know, he became a trainer, then now he's making other trainers, and they hopefully will make other trainers. And all of a sudden, through the work of one person, we can grow that to literally impacting thousands of people. And every one of you who's listening, you have that ability as well. So we're just about out of time. In fact, we're a little bit over. So Ragnar, I told you I was going to ask you just briefly, as you look into your crystal ball for Feed the Planet, what do we see in the future? What do you see?
I see that we, as I said, we have a certain base now, and I see us now starting to, firstly, to multiply the impact using the template that we have. Is exactly what you said with Stephen, is that have other train others and have a snowball effect as one thing. I see us also going deeper into the subjects. You mentioned that earlier. We're going to have a subject matter specialist on the seafood. I see us going deeper into other areas, whether we talk about vegan or animal proteins, alternative animal proteins, or are we talking about ergonomy in the kitchens, or are we talking about we go deeper into for those who want to really dig in, so we become experts, not just on the surface bringing awareness, but really become experts. So we will be, and as Worldchefs will be not first to be a leader, but we can lead the way for others to follow, of how really we use the power of the white jacket to become the change agent that we will be looked up to when we talk to policymakers, politicians, the industrial groups, that our word will matter and our input will be heard. So
awesome. Thank you. And Ragnar, thank you for your leadership. I mean, you are, and just so everybody knows on this webinar, that Ragnar really is 100% committed to this, as is the board, and that is why we continue to do what we do. But I do want to just call out two other people. Lynn, can you turn your camera on just for a second? She's like, this wasn't on the script. There you go. I just want to call out, Lynn, and I know I always get, I always thank you, but as we wrap up this year, Lynn does so much work in the whole Feed the Planet thing. I mean, truly, she puts in countless hours, and I just want to call you out and say a huge thank you to you, because without you and your efforts, also, I mean, this stuff doesn't move forward. So thank you. And the other person, just to call out, who I'm not sure if she's on, is Shona, who is the vice chair in Toronto. She is an amazing partner in this, and I just want to call her out and tell her a huge thank you. And with that, I guess we'll see you in the new year. Happy holidays to everyone. Have a wonderful New Year's. And we look forward to 2023 and beyond, to continue to roll up our sleeves, to continue to work hard to make a difference. And I think the really sort of key message of today is we are making a difference, and we have a lot more to go with the help of our partners and with the help of everybody within the Worldchefs community. We ask you to consider doing more and getting involved. And with that, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody. See you in 2023. It's just around the corner. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, and thank you.